Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Endless Celts Podcast. I hope you're all well. Who's watching? I have Monty and Christoph in already, nice and early. I'm joined first of all by Jed. How you doing, Jed? And I hope I want to say before but we came on there didn't stick in your head too much, but you keep well.
That's the only place it's going to be sticking.
How are you, big man?
Yeah, champion, as they say. It's been a good week. A few of the blue noses at the work are rather worried about tomorrow, but obviously we'll come on to that. Yep, all things in the garden are rosy, and let's hope there's some new blooms tomorrow, and we're all happy.
100%. I hope you actually you trim and maintain your garden, Jed. I'm holding out hope for you. But James, what about yourself? How are you?
Aye, all good, mate. Just the same as Jed. Just working away this week, wishing away the days to remora, and then we've got a nice, hopefully, a wee bank holiday weekend to celebrate it. So fingers crossed.
100%. And you're not watching the game tomorrow?
No, I'm working Monday. I'm
Monday.
not on Monday.
Oh, aye, fair enough. I'm on the Carlsberg. Jed, what are you on? Coors. I mean, if Willie's seen that, I know what his reaction would be. But what about yourself, James?
I'm on the dark fruits. Kidding on him 16 again.
Outside in the local parks behind the wheelie bins, we've all been there. Anthony Dunn is also in. Now, James, you spoke about there when we first come on about wishing away the days. Now, I do this whenever Celtic are playing anybody. I wish away the days to the weekend. I wish away to the Saturday or Sunday that the Celtic are playing. But I mean, even if we look back at the last Derby game, because we know how crucial that was, I had a feeling of confidence and I didn't like it. This week, so far, James, I've been feeling the exact same way, if not a bit more confident. And it feels like sometimes I'm being led down the path of the false kind of sense of security. And albeit it's great having that confidence in your team to win the game and bring home the result, and like you said, celebrate a bank holiday weekend in style. How are you feeling? I mean, I don't know about you, but everyone I'm seeing online, anyone I speak to on the street or in work, they're feeling really confident, and it's such a strange feeling.
I was the same as you say for the last game a couple of weeks ago at Parkhead. I was massively confident getting into it. Normal services resumed for me this week. I'm like a bag of jaggies. I'm shiting myself for it. I don't know if it's just the fact it's a cup final. I don't know what it is with Hampden. I'm just never really overly confident going to Hampden, and there's no really any reason for that because obviously our record at Hampden's is excellent. But nah, the normal services resumed for me. Really nervous. I think it'll be a close game. The game at Parkhead was probably as comfortable can be, but in terms of the scoreline, it was obviously still close. We still had a nervous kind of final 10 minutes. Hopefully, it can be a wee bit more comfortable tomorrow. We're no kind of tuning our fingernails come the end, but I think if both teams turn up, the same as I said the last time, if both teams turn up, there is only going to be one winner. But I don't know if I've just got that Aberdeen in the semi-final in the back of my head. Just kind of sitting there, just make me feel nervous. But to be honest, we're the team in the ascendancy. We're the form team. We've got everybody fit. Obviously, they don't. They're no in particularly great form either. So everything does favour us, and it points towards a Celtic win. But at the same time, I don't know, there's just always that wee thing at the back of your head for these games that they'll due a result against us and all that rubbish. That isn't based in anything. So, fingers crossed we can get the double over the line.
What do they call that? The law of averages, isn't it? But I feel the same as you. Maybe not the nervous side of things, but usually when it comes to kickoff time, I'm shaking, the adrenaline's pumping through me. I'm saying all sorts of things that I wouldn't normally say in day-to-day life. But Thomas Burns comes in. I haven't been as confident leading up to the Glasgow Derby since the last time Brendan was here. I'm Monty. I'm quietly confident and wary. If Celtic are on it, only one winner. And Steve Murdoch is in as well, saying evening all days, Jed. And how are you feeling this week in the lead up to the cup final game? As James said, form does kind of go out the window. I mean, it's a one-off game. I think it'll be hell for leather. I think it'll be close-knit. And I know people are going about spanking them 5 or 6-1 or 5 or 6-0. Look, I would love to see that, but if you look at the evidence of the last 4 games, which we'll come on to and talk about briefly, is they've been kind of close games, albeit we've been dominant and in control in most of them, but we've seen them out with maybe 1 or 2 goals between ourselves. and that kind of proved vital, obviously, to win the league title. But how are you feeling at this moment in time?
I'm a bit like James. I mean, the last derby, I was really confident going in, and I'm equally as confident just now. I just feel, and I'm glad, James, you touched on the Aberdeen game. I think, I can't remember if I said it on this podcast or on the WhatsApp group, that's going to be a turning point for us, realising we've got to be at a game to win. We've got to be our best to win all the games, and after that, we were fantastic. And look, I honestly cannot see anything else than us winning tomorrow. I mean, I know that could come back and haunt me, but I can't see it. I just think we've got the psychological edge over them. We score first. I can see them their fans are going to be on top of them as well. Tavernier is going to be getting stick from his own support, and Maeda, I think, could have a field day tomorrow against them.
Yeah, I think that's what we're kind of all thinking. We do have their number in terms of a tactical outlet. And James, Jed spoke about it the previous games, and it's something I was going to come on to next. Do you think that's going to play a part? Obviously, we've been through these games this season, and you see Clementine now trying to make excuses and talk about injuries and talk about players who might play who otherwise might have been on crutches. Yilmaz crying when he got injured in training. Where we went into especially the first two derby games at Ibrox and Parkhead with a Fred Bird team, Larga Belga and Scales had to hold the fort. Scales had to be like a senior pro and bring the back four through the first one. And it's looking for the lineups anyway in the previous games, maybe bar the last two, so to speak, we were really Fred Burr. So them excuses don't wash on me. I think what Jed said there is correct. Tavernier, I've seen his quotes saying have to give 15 to 20% more and saying out game management and all the piece that they're going to say to try and rile up their supporters. But I think when push comes to shove in these pressure environments, so far this season, Celtic have come up trumps, and it looks like we do have the psychological edge over whether it be Michael Beale or Clementine at the helm.
I had to laugh as well. Like you're saying, I know obviously they've got their injuries, Goldson, I think Barisic is injured as well. But these are guys that they've been screaming to get dropped for weeks now. So now that that option to have them in the team is removed altogether, all of a sudden that's getting used as the kind of the excuse, when in reality, if they had the choice, they probably wouldn't have wanted to play them anyway. So like you're saying, obviously very similar to us at the start of the season in the first couple of games against them. Threadbare, you've just got to go away with what you've got. There's no point making excuses, especially before a ball's been kicked. Injuries happen, part and parcel of football. We've heard it all year as well. You've got big squads for a reason, so I don't think you can make any excuses for it. All the players in the squad they've signed, so they must have felt something at some point.
Noah's added that as well, Jed. The way he said about the Sevco team, they've all signed them and they've played their part in the team throughout the years. I mean, if you looked at our recruitment in the summer, I think one summer signing featured in the last couple of games for ourselves, and apart from that, it's been a Postecoglou team that Rodgers has had to mould to play his game a certain way and obviously get that through in terms of the possession-based game, a bit more methodical, a bit more kind of structured when they go up the pitch. And it's took time, obviously, and I know Ross banged on about personnel. That's his favourite word at the moment. But you kind of notice a difference in the style of the team when Atate came back. Carter Vickers is back fully fit again, and then James has made a good kind of made a good impact on the right hand side of the pitch or left hand side when he starts the games. But what do you think when you look back on the previous derby games this season? And I was saying on the chat earlier, I don't know why, but it feels like to me, I'm thinking back to when Rodgers was first here and they had the likes of Barton, Nico Crankyard, Clint Hill, and Danny Wilson playing, and it was genuinely a walk in the park for us. Some of them games were like training exercises, but I've got that in the back of my head again, and I don't know why. And maybe that's why I feel so confident and assured going into these games. But let's be fair, they do have a better squad. Is it a bit ignorant of myself to think that, a bit of complacency setting in on my part? I don't know. That's for other people to say. But I mean, 4 games against them, 1 world-class goal from Matondo away from whitewashing them. Probably another DVD would have been released about that, obviously. But, I mean, is it a false sense of security, or have we just got their number altogether here?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I'm not a gambling man, but the bookies are normally wrong, are they? And all the bookies have us as clear favourites. I know people, I was listening to Talk Sport this week, and people have been saying, the Man City, Man United, and the majority of people are saying, it's going to be a Celtic Man City double at the weekend. And you mentioned there about previous games. The last game, the 2-1 game a few weeks ago, when you're at the game, you're caught up in all the emotion. The last 10 minutes, yeah, you're a little bit worried. But when you come home and then I rewatched the game, Hart could have played with a suit on. They had one shot on target. That was it. But they'd done nothing. We coped with it. I know they're coming out and saying the 2 home games that we played them, they were down to 10 men. But you've got to mind, they weren't down to 10 men at Ibrox on 2 occasions. We should have beat them over the 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of a win and a draw. So they're trying to find wee glimmers of hope. But I think even Clement's realising he's in the height. He's under major pressure. If we lose tomorrow, yes, we'll be disappointed, but our main target every year is to win the league. We've done that. So we've got the momentum moving in. Guys, let's be honest. If we play like we did against Kilmarnock, we will win by numerous goals tomorrow. That was a fantastic performance against Kilmarnock. And if we can go in, I know we won't probably play Adam Ida, we'll come on to who we think is going to be playing. But that I just think the momentum's on our side. If we go out with that mindset, there is only one winner, and it's us, and it's another Reed double for us.
Yeah, and see, to be fair, Jed, I want to come back to you on something there. You mentioned Clementine and being under pressure, and I was last on a double pivot on Wednesday, and we were talking about how we felt about Rodgers pre-Christmas, post-Christmas, and towards the end of the season. I remember me and you on here were in a roundabout way calling for a change in and around Christmas
James,
time.
yes. Yep.
Yeah, and James, to give a new manager a chance to come in and get his kind of transfer targets in place over the January window. When you look back at that now, and look, I didn't really kind of come away from my opinion, because I think when we're playing bad, it needs called out. When you see something that doesn't change, it needs called out. And do you know what I mean? In a roundabout way, the only other solution is the manager has to go. And I think that's where we were probably heading with frustration and thinking the season wasn't going to go our way. We've seen all the pitfalls and the negative headlines around the club at that time. I mean, the Hearts game 2-0 and the Kilmarnock beating us, you can kind of hark back to them results. But I think the turnaround after Christmas has been absolutely incredible, Jed. And we do have to give kudos as well. Not saying, by the way, that any of us wanted Rodgers to fail. We were just calling out what was seen at the time on the pitch and the way the team was playing. But after Christmas, we've been on a fantastic run of results at the business end of the season, as he says, with Celtic come alive. And still, that's probably without strengthening as much as he would like in the January transfer window. His one and only probably decent signing then was Alameda, and Ross pointed out he's come in and made a brilliant impact. But when you look back on that kind of Christmas time period, did you envisage us sitting here discussing the potential League and Cup double, if you're honest?
No, I didn't, because I think as well we all got caught up in the emotion of it all, because we could see how we're performing under Ange, and I think, well, it's the same players with the exception of Jota. But look, I did say on it as well, I would love to be proved wrong. I'd love Rodgers to prove me wrong, and he has proved me wrong. So I'll hold my hands up. I think I mentioned as well in the group chat, I personally believe the turning point, even though it was a defeat, it was at Tynecastle. Because I thought, we played well that day and we got beat. But it just seems, after that, the team just seemed to galvanise, they got together, and we've not looked back. I think we felt that injustice with the sending off with Yang. And I think Rodgers has used that as motivation for the squad. And if you listen to Callum McGregor and that saying today as well, their expectations at this club, and players do realise that we're there to win. That's the mindset that we want. And you can see Hart, McGregor is drumming that into them.
Yeah,
So it's,
I totally agree. And Gav actually said something similar on Wednesday. James, in the round, the turning point was that Hearts game and the Yang sending off. And I think Jed's probably right that the siege mentality was definitely kind of grown from there, and the squad came together. But see in a way, like when you look back, and a lot of division among the support happened in around the kind of Christmas time period. People, on them terms, bedwetters and entitled and things of that nature. And look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Me, Jed, yourself, anyone else on the podcast, or Celtic fans in general. And some ends are the big extreme, and some people just kind of remain calm and composed throughout it all. Do you look back on the Christmas period, maybe you think we're a bit gun ho and wanting change or wanting a refresh?
To be honest, no, because as you say, you're basing it off what you're seeing in the park, and what we're seeing in the park wasn't good enough. The signings weren't good enough. In the summer, that's obviously. Well, I suppose Rodgers, the manager, does partially take some of that. If we're saying he signed the players as he did, how much truth is in that is up for debate. But I don't think it was, to be honest. And look, I know you're saying about the game at Tynecastle creating that siege mentality. And looking back with hindsight, I probably did. But see, for me, after that, I didn't come away from that with any more positivity than went into it. Because obviously the sending off is a joke. The penalty was a bit of a joke that day as well. But obviously they had lost the Saturday the day before as well. So you're getting into that on the Sunday thinking, right, we can lay a marker down here. And even if we get down to 10 men, look, we've done it in the past and we've come away with a result with 10 men against better teams than Hearts. And it just didn't happen. And again, as I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and that probably is what galvanised the team and, as you say, created that siege mentality. But that game was in March, and I know we're talking about the Christmas period, but that's obviously 3 months later, and I was still a wee bit. Well, I'm not so sure here. And if I'm being totally honest, the day that I actually nailed my colours to the mast and said, I think we'll win this league here, was the game at Ibrox. Although it was a draw, I'd said getting into it, it was a must not lose game. Look, the way it happened, as I said before, it was a bit of a gut punch, but at the end of the day, we didn't lose the game, and that really put it in our hands, considering obviously we had to play them again at Parkhead, and at that time, you had Tatati coming back. I don't even think McGregor had been out injured at that point, had he? Or had he, no, he just come back actually, didn't he, for the Ibrox game?
Yeah.
But we're talking about that. Well, I'm certainly talking about that as if it's like ancient history. That feels as if it was months and months ago, and it was only last month that we drew 3 each with them at Ibrox. So, although the Christmas period obviously wasn't great, and that's where the kind of worst performances were. If I'm being totally honest, I was really on the fence with Rodgers right up until that game at Ibrox, and that's when it switched. And I'm like, right, I think we could date here. And then, to be fair, he went a total 180 getting into the last few games of the season after the split and things like that. The way he carried himself, and look, I'll give them their due as much as I hate doing it. Like Ross, Wally, and Tony, like they all said all through it, like he was a man for it, and we obviously argued. And at one point, I just couldn't see any way that we were wrong. But then getting into the last few weeks of the season with the split, the way he was carrying himself, the way he was talking, like you wouldn't have rather. And it's the same. Like the game's not been played tomorrow, but it's the same getting into the game. That's a fair point. I forgot about that one.
The moral victory.
It's the same getting into the game. The moral, like, the way he's carried himself, there's never been any panic. And well, I know he likes a wee kind of catchphrase, but the thing about writing his own story, writing their own story and all that, look, he would have been saying that in the dressing room as well, because obviously, as we've said, within large amounts of your support, we had, I don't want to say we'd wrote it off, but I don't think it was for Afghan on the scrap heap for most days. So, aye, fair play.
James,
Yeah, I think it's wet.
Sorry,
go ahead, Jeff.
Am I right in saying Brendan Rodgers has not lost the game at hand? And I also believe Callum McGregor has not lost a final at hand.
Aye, well, McGregor got asked that. That was the last question in his press conference today, and he didn't really answer.
And listen, look, all things come to an end, don't they? But I just think tomorrow, see as well, we're talking about we were all getting, I personally was getting worrying about Rodgers as well. But I think when you look back in the season, I don't know if you guys or any of the people watching will agree with me, there was a lot of turmoil behind the scenes. Remember, you had the Green Brigade banned for a wee while. I mean, the atmosphere was terrible. And then it certainly made a huge difference when they came back, because the other ultra group, the Boys, they were out in support as well. Yeah, fans did try, but there was a lot of fans in total support of the Green Brigade. So they weren't singing. And it was affecting the players. But then I think I put on the WhatsApp as well, guys. See the Hearts game, the 3-0 game a few weeks ago. The atmosphere was unbelievable. You could actually physically see the Hearts players getting affected by it. The fans just got totally behind the team, and that just gave them an extra 20%. And we were comfortable winners, but you could actually see the Hearts fans, players were panicking. I've never seen that at a league game. I've seen it in Europe, but never in a league game. And I knew then we were winning the league. I knew we were going to win the league.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference. I mean, Rodgers always speaks about that kind of trinity, doesn't he? Having the fans on side, having the connect between the players, him and the fans. And when that comes together, it is spectacular. Even I heard some people say that the Hearts game was a better atmosphere than the Derby game, which is surprising, but it's magic. It's like you said, Jed, it's magic. And the whole Green Brigade thing and the Boys thing, we will obviously talk more in depth about that, because and obviously after the Cup final, probably we're talking maybe Wednesday or Friday next week, we're going to look to have our end of season review with all of us on the screen, which will be carnage. So it will be a good laugh. So that will be a really long podcast. Maybe you'd talk about a couple of days or 48 hours instead of the 24 that would go sometimes. But it's something.
No guy can't take it.
Mate, it's
2.5 hours. I thought it was just, I had to phone the Undertaker and just say, come and back me up now. I'm done in.
There was points I was watching it, and I could have swore I seen your eyes go, and then you were like, "What?"
I'm up early in the morning anyway. I'm up early every single day, and I just can't stop.
Well, we'll keep it up. We'll keep it under 24 hours, Dad. It's fine. We'll be fine. Call me pardon. Every time, that's true. Every time Celtic score tomorrow, the fans should shoot the Campwell Shoosh Burger. Did you hear about that? Was mad. He done a Shoosh Burger, whatever it was. I think Tavernier presenting the trophy to Calmac would be a very sporting gesture and bring the city together in harmony. I mean, that would be class. And Monty mentioned that he wants Jerry Adams to present the trophy or bring out the trophy at Hampden. But the only thing about that is, if someone asks Jerry Adams in the future, I was never in Hampden. Don't know what the Scottish Cup is. So you're not gonna get the truth out of him in his book for years to come. But look, I do want to break it up a bit. It's a Friday night. We'll do a wee Who Am I? I've done it a bit different this time. So I've took a screenshot of the wiki page, and you just have to guess it there. So that all the clues are in there, and I'll still have the comments on. Can people turn it off?
Stephen, I can't see the comments anyway.
Oh, that's grand. That's grand. Just give me a wee second to get into the studio via my other, well, I say other phone to get into it here. 2 wee seconds. Right, let's get on. The first player, okay. So the first player we have, can you guess on this? I'll read out the clubs as well for people who are listening on audio and obviously can't see the screen if they can't see it. So the first player is this guy. So his clubs include Valencia B, Salamanca, Getafe, Rayo Vallecano, Deportivo, and away down there, Intercity, and I think that is Orentero. I think they're a Portuguese side. Can any of you guess so far from that graphic who this player may be? And remember, it goes towards your points total when we go on to the quiz, which, by the way, is 67 questions long. So we'll be there all night.
I know who it is.
I don't.
Monty has it right. James, do you want to take a guess?
It's Miku. And the only reason I know that is because of his own loan for Getafe.
It is, in fact, Miku. And Monty, Jade, and Patrick McLaughlin have got that right. Franny, it is in from X, Twitter. He has commented Miku as well. It is correct. So the next player, so that's 1-0 to James. The next player we have is this guy. So the clubs include Malmo, FC Twente, Basel, AAK Athens, where Barkas came from, Franny. You'll know that. And he finished at AIK in Sweden. Played for Celtic between 2010 and 2012. Any quick guesses there, Jed? Any player coming to mind?
No.
Is it
No.
Dan Mistorovic?
It is, in fact, Dan Mistorovic. So it is. So far, no one in the comments has got that right. Franny came in with Bangura. I mean, a good shout, but it definitely wasn't him. 2-0 to
You got
James.
Mr. Google it again, James.
He cheats continuously. He's run about. If you ask him a question about football in 1901, he's like, "Oh, I know. No, it's impossible."
Told
So
you,
the third,
just a clever
We
cunt.
would take the mask off you.
Stephen Fry.
It's 2-0 to James so far. Come on, you don't want to whitewash there, Jed. Come on. So the next player is started his youth career at Nantes, played for us on loan between 2009 and 2010, went to Bordeaux, Saint-Etienne. Who we thinking?
The worst, I'm sure it is the world's worst passer of a ball.
Who you thinking, James?
I'll give Jed a shot.
No.
James, go for it.
The guy could play fitwise, fucking 1-on-1. Just give him it, lose it, win it back, lose it again, win it back. Landry Nguemo.
It is Landry Nguemo, and Patrick McLaughlin was in quick with that as well. By the way, I really liked Landry Nguemo.
Terrible.
No, he wasn't.
Great at tackling, but he couldn't pass the ball half a yard.
Who would you rather have, Brian Kyle or Landry Nguemo?
Kyle, 100 times out.
Kyle.
Stephen,
Jed
give you a bit of advice.
Yeah.
Don't go to the TV producer. I've got an idea for a quiz because I'll just laugh at you.
Why? Jed, I've literally took screenshots of the Wikipedia page for everybody here to make it easier. I mean, look, Jade Moffat thought it was Kamara. Definitely not Jade. Unlucky. Franny Carty and Nguemo, Paul McFarlane and Nguemo. Jade Moffat says Nguemo was class. Totally agree. Monty underneath it, and Nguemo was pish. Disagree. The last player on the Who Am I section is this person. Started his career at Motherwell, joined ourselves. After that, he had a hefty spell at Derby County, a few loans here and there, and finally finished his career at Motherwell in 2017.
Stephen Pearson.
Oh, it is in fact Piero, and Jade Moffat come in with Pearson as well. Are you talking to Jade Moffat? That was really quick.
My phone's there.
No, I'll believe you, Jade. That's 3-1. Jade got it right, Monty got it right, Paul McFarlane, Franny got it right. Maestro thought McDonald. I do understand why, but it wasn't him. Patrick McLaughlin scored a winner at Wembley to promote Derby. Oh, did he? I didn't know that. He didn't impact where he was then. But there we go. That is the Who Am I section done. So as it stands in the quiz and Who Am I at the moment, it is 3-1 to James. See, in regards to players and obviously their ex-players who had massive careers, I do want to talk about a couple of players within the Celtic team at the moment. Jed, and first of all, I want to start with Joe Hart. Obviously, he's been the topic of conversation the last couple of weeks on many Celtic podcasts, many outlets, but it is his last ever game for ourselves at Handon. And what do you think about him and his impact in a Celtic shirt?
I think, look, let's be honest, we've all criticised him at times. But I think probably the biggest thing he has brought to the club has been one of the main men in the dressing room, looking after the younger players. I mean, he's got into the whole ethos of what Celtic is about. You know, he didn't realise, like a lot of players have said that when they come up here they don't realise just how big a club it is. And he's totally fell in love. And I thought his interview with Sky last week about him, he wants to go out when he knows he's done a good job. He doesn't want to go and think, this is the day I'm going to make a mistake. So credit where it's due, you know, he's going to go out, he thinks, I could struggle after this. He doesn't want to let the club down, let the fans down. He's made some amazing saves. I mean, that save against Hearts a few weeks ago when it was 1-0 to us. And he's made some howlers in Europe as well. But overall, he's been fantastic. And I think his experience, he's been great for his fellow players in the dressing room. So let's hope he goes out with a winner's medal tomorrow.
Do you not think as well, Jed, if we look at the kind of the career he had before City, I mean, for me, before Celtic, for me personally, I remember watching England play, and every time England got beat, I was like, fucking, like you're getting into it. You see Joe Hart in the tunnel, he's like a maniac. I always thought he was arrogant. I thought he was very full of himself and obviously doing the head and shoulders adverts, which have now become just a meme, and he embraces all the banter he gets about that. But do you not think he's one of them players that kind of, I wouldn't say teach you a lesson, but it's like, don't judge a book by its cover. Because as you said, he's come in, he's embraced us, and that old cliche, he gets it, blah, blah, blah. Look, he's bought into the whole culture of the club, and he's talked about it various times about he doesn't have to sell the club. If you want to experience it, you have to come up and feel it yourself. It's non-describable, things of that nature. But one of the things I do love about his story at Celtic is the fact that he came in under people's illusions about him or what they previously thought that he would be, and he's totally wiped that from the face of the earth because he's actually the opposite of that character we all thought he was. Well, I did personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was a bit of a headbanger. You hear stories when he was at West Ham and he chased a player, one of the fellow West Ham players, a younger one, out the training ground. He was going to kill him. So he's calmed down. But that's just the older you get, you calm down. But he's just been the last week.
That's not for you. You've never calmed down, Jeff.
No, I haven't actually. But no, he's been great. He has been a good signing for it. You've got to mind who was the manager at Spurs? He used to be at Wolves.
Nuno.
He basically says you would give me the fear if you were playing in goal for me. How's that? To give his confidence must have took a shot after that. Took an absolute kicking. But he's came up and he's had to reinvent himself coming up here, and he has.
Yep.
And look, let's hope if they get a pair at the morning, saves it. I doubt it right enough, but I hope he saves it.
Jed, never know. He might score one. Do you know what I mean? I think that's his ambition. There's a score penalty for us. But
there you go, Stephen. See that game? He missed that penalty, right? He looked calm as anything, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He looked so calm. Come back into goals after that.
And he saved us because he had to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's that pressure. That's that character. That's that kind of experience coming to the fore, isn't it? And James, Franny comes in. Grenade here. But his Hart's contribution being overhyped because he's retiring. P.S. It's not my train of thought. But do you see a side of that, James?
I can understand part of it.
Yeah.
I think recency bias is a massive part of it because since he's announced he's retiring, he's been in the form of his Celtic career. It would have been great if he announced 3 years ago he was going to retire in 3 years' time and he kept that up for the full period. But look, I think Joe Hart overall has been a fantastic signing for us. There's been spells where, even this year, where I felt he should have been replaced. But as I say, since the turn of the year, as I say, basically since he's announced that he's going to retire, he's been absolutely brilliant. It used to be a bit of a kind of sticking point. You'd always be a bit wary if the ball had went back to him. Don't get me wrong, you still do get that on occasions. I think he takes a wee bit longer and he fucking leaves you kind of turtlenecking it when he's got to his feet. But no, by and large, look, he's been brilliant. And as you say, as a person as well, I always thought he was a bit of a banger before he signed. Head and Shoulders advert, that whole it's decent part. I think the part that he was England's number one probably played into it as well. But no, since he's come in, I've done a total 180 in the guy. His interviews are brilliant. You could listen to him speak for hours. Don't get me wrong, that the game at the weekend, if I was watching that and it was a game down south and there was the display and then his song getting sung and then the fucking reaction to the banner and his Wayne's coming on with Celtic shoes, I was like, right, fuck, this is a wee bit OTT. But because it was us, like, that's fucking class. But overall, he's been brilliant. Been a fantastic signing.
I want to come on to the comment.
What do you think?
I'm going to come on to what I think about Joe. I think I'm pretty consistent in what I think about Joe, but I will come on that in a wee second. Maestro 95. Hart has been great in the dressing room, big personality. He's a good communicator. And I agree with Patrick here, Patrick McLaughlin. The reason I think anyway, once he announced his retirement, it felt like to me he's lifted that weight off his shoulders where he doesn't have to think, is this the right choice? Is this the right way of the right avenue to go down? Once he's had them hard discussions with Stevie Woods, like he talked about, and Brendan Rodgers, it's like he's been able to focus back on the football. And then you've got the other end of the scale, Michael McDonald. I pray for a clear out after we pump the Rangers, and I hope the board don't get complacent again. So people are already thinking about the season ahead, and my train of thought is halfway there, to be fair. But on Joe himself, look, I've been probably up and down with Joe. I think we all have. I mean, Patrick McLaughlin mentioned earlier in the comments about the Leipzig game in Europe where he passed the ball to the opposition player, without any pressure on him. Fits and starts his concentration. It goes at points and he makes blunders, but then all goalkeepers do. But you can't hide away from the fact, like you said, Jed, and James, to be fair, that he's been excellent for Callum McGregor. He's been a helper in the dressing room. He has that experience when we're probably lacking it. When Scott Brown leaves, you're resting all your laurels and on Calmac to see the team through as a captain. Getting Joe Hart in for what was it, £1 million, I think was a great bit of business. And you're right, Jed. What Nuno said to him at Spurs, that's enough to make anyone probably fold under the pressure, but he didn't. And then you look at that penalty kick he missed. He was calm and composed, like you said. We're back in the goal, done his job, and we got through to the final. I don't like one thing I don't like, and it irritates me a bit if I'm honest, is when you see pundits, you shouldn't retire, you should stay on for another year, you should do this, you should do that, and that awkward kind of conversation where you're trying to convince him to change his mind. Look, I get it, and I get it partly they're just doing it to make him feel good that he should do another year, blah, blah, blah. But if Joe feels it's right, the time call in his career when he's got out in the high, then leave him to it. Just let him go off into the distance, let him support Celtic from afar. He'll always be welcome back. We've talked about ambassador roles, scouting roles, and I'm pretty sure Manchester City have offered him something, so I don't know what's going to happen in that regard, but we'll hold him in a special place and he'll hold us in a special place in his heart. And like I said on Wednesday on the double pivot, we needed him and he needed us. It was like the Craig Gordon situation. Fraser Foster, the second time around, he wasn't getting game time. We propped him up again and got his career back on track, and even though there's rumours that he might be coming back to us. But look, I've talked about it last year. I've talked about it probably as recently as the January transfer window. If there's one position I want strengthened, whether Joe Hart's there or not, it's goalkeeping position, and it's an out and out number one, either to challenge him or fully take over. But one thing I do want to ask you, Jed, and look, you can elaborate as much as you want. If you look at Douglas, David Marshall, Arthur Borage, I know Douglas. I'm saying that wrong again, it's incredible. Douglas, whatever way you call him, I don't know. Arthur Borage, Arthur Borage, Fraser Foster, Craig Gordon. I mean, there's a few else you could throw in there. Where would you rate his impact, Jed? I mean, if you could do it 1 to 4, 1 to 5, where would you say he ranks in the last 20 years of Celtic goalkeepers?
Well, I do think Boric is ahead of him. I do think Craig Gordon's ahead of him. And
Craig Gordon, really?
Yeah. Craig Gordon was fantastic for us, guys. He really was. And look, this is only my opinion. I'd probably have him fourth because I also thought Fraser Foster, the second time he came to us, was just amazing. If you look at the game, the cup final against Rangers, the League Cup, when what's his name scored, the French guy, the defender, mine's just went blank. The saves that Foster was making that day was unbelievable.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it was, and so he's probably four for me.
What about yourself, James? Where would you put Joe Hart in the keepers?
Big Dougal's definitely at the bottom of the list
Wow.
anyway.
You can't help yourself. It's always can't help it.
Just saying, to be fair, he actually is. Big Dougal would be at the bottom of the list regardless. But I agree with what Jed said there. I'd have Arthur Boric top of the list, Fraser Forster second. Hart and Gordon, there probably isn't a lot between them, but I wouldn't write off Craig Gordon at the end. I always remember I'm sure it was against Salzburg. He just rolled the ball, threw the ball off the guy, and the guy scored for it. He went right down the hill at the very end, so I don't know, because he was good prior to that. I'll put them on a par. I'll put Gordon and Hart joint third then. But Boric and Foster are miles ahead of him.
What do you think, James, about the... And again, this is another fucking irritation of mine, and it really annoys me, right? So Fraser Foster's getting let go by Spurs from all the rumours that I'm seeing online. And straight away, Neil Lennon's out. Celtic should get him again. And then the rumours start circulating that we're kind of trying to court him and get him back at the club. I wouldn't have him back. First of all, because he rejected us again on a permanent transfer basis to go down and be third choice at an EPL club. And we propped him up 2 times in his career. And then the third time he chose to just ditch us at the first time of asking. So that's probably the main reason I would say no to him, albeit he was a good goalkeeper. Added to that, secondly, James, he's 36 years old now. And it's like we're trying to build for the future. We're trying to look to the future. And why is it always ex-players that Celtic or rumours have a fascination with of linking us or linking them back to the club in some shape or form?
Well, that's Edouard Armstrong and Fraser Forster. We've all been linked to, and the transfer window isn't even open yet. So, but no, the Fraser Forster thing, I think that ship sailed as well. I agree with you there. I think it would just be kicking the can down the road for another kicking the can down the road for another year. I think he played a couple of times for Spurs this season, or maybe it was the tail end of last season, and he didn't look too great. He looked a bit stiff and getting down to shots. So no, it wouldn't be for me. Out of all the goalkeepers we have been linked with, I don't know obviously how much is in it, but I like the sound of Castells, but I think he'd probably be pretty expensive. I know he's on a free, but in terms of wages, I think he'd be pretty expensive. But out of the names that's been mentioned, I fancy him.
The only thing about Castells is there's a Saudi Arabian club that are linked with him, so they're going to throw all sorts of money at him. It depends what he wants to do with his career. But Jed, same question to yourself. Oh yeah, I know. I've heard that, but thank the Lord, Liam Kelly has got back to that lap. Thank the Lord. Thank you. Praise Jesus. But Jed, where do you stand on this? I mean, the goalkeeping position is going to be a hot topic all summer. And like what James said there, the first kind of players we're linked with is ex-Celtic players. Do you think that's the media driving up that hype, or do you think there is genuine interest from the club? Because for me, like James said, that's kicking the can down the road. We're just going back to the same old tried and tested instead of broadening the horizons and looking to the future, in my opinion.
No, I mean, here, talk about rumours. I put one in there, the group chat yesterday, what I heard about Kieran Tierney.
You made that up.
Stephen, I didn't, mate. Honestly, the boy told me it's usually very good. But again, I did say yes, he's too injury prone. But anyway, on ex-players, I don't want Edouard back. Edouard was another one that pissed off. He wanted to get away. You know, when Ange came in, he was wanting out the door. So that's fine. Fraser Foster was the same. I'm not interested. I'm looking for younger guys coming in with a bit of bite, because I think if they come in, they think, well, I done this the last time, I can maybe get away with it again. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. I mean, like you say, if we get Fraser Foster, he's 36. How long are we going to have him? A season, maybe? No.
It's a stupid idea.
Spend a bit of money with a younger keeper. It could be with us for 3-4 years.
And I think for me, like, not to say the perfect keeper, but that blueprint is Castells. He's been let go by Wolfsburg. He's played in the Bundesliga for his whole career, has like 17, 18 caps under Courtois at Belgium. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, so you're not expecting him to be challenging him for a space all the time. But even to get 17, 18 caps in that position is a good thing. But look, leaving the transfer rumours to one side, James, another player I wanted to talk about, and he done an interview there with Celtic TV, was James Forrest. Again, someone throughout his whole career, even by myself, he's probably been read off time and time again. His testimonial was this season, which is mad to think, by the way. And usually after them sorts of games, it's you kind of work your way out the club, or you kind of settle down and kind of go to the retirement. But Rodgers is speaking, and he said he knew what talent he had. Obviously, when Liel Abada left the club and the circumstances he left the club in, he really had no one else to turn to. You could try Yang, but he's still young and inconsistent. Palma is shit. Palma is absolutely woeful, and he should not be in a Celtic shirt again, in my opinion. But he will be. But James Forrest, like Joe Hart, the experienced side, the experienced guys that we needed have just fucking come in the second part of the season, showed the younger lads how to do it, and that kind of sets that momentum, sets that kind of environment, puts the bar up in training. And like what Roger said as well, he's just a first class human being.
He's been brilliant. And I know it's been done to death with the Rodgers comments about him being the best winger at the club, but he's showed it. Since he's come into the team, he has been brilliant. He's been really consistent as well. Probably the only question mark of the team, the more you had obviously Palma coming off the back of a match-winning man of the match performance last week.
James, so this is what you did with the Kyogo and the 10 shit. Kyogo, and you ran with it and you lied about it because you never even said it. Then Palma
defended Palma. Always defended Palma. Yang is absolute toilet. He's slept with a football player. But no, the team the Mora picks itself. I'm only having a laugh with that. But Palma will score a hat trick when he comes off the bench.
We'll come on to the team. But just in particular, Jamesy and Palma and stuff. Yeah.
I know he's been really, really good. My only question to get my negative hat back on is why was he not in the team sooner? Look, I've said my piece in Yang. I think it was fairly evident pretty early on that he wasn't going to make it here. Palma, I'll give Palma benefit of the doubt, but genuinely, obviously Abada had his issues and he wasn't playing, but it does generally beg the question why he wasn't playing earlier in the season. Because I don't think we've got a great batch of wingers currently to pick for. Obviously, you've got your two, the news, Maida and Forrest. But apart from that, if we're being serious, it is kind of much of a muchness between the rest of them. So I think that's a position or two positions that we need to look to strengthen in the summer. But that would be my only question, is why was no one in the team sooner?
Mm-hmm. Plunge McNugget comes in. What's the point in naming the team? We all know the team, for fuck's sake. Listen, Plunge, right? This is why we do it. Because we're going to come on a wee bit of key battles in the pitch, talk about some of the shy players they have, and have a laugh. That's why we're going to name our starting lineups. So that's where we're going with that one. But I do agree. We probably know the starting 11 going by the last couple of weeks. But Jed, Forrest, and like what James said, why was he not in the team sooner in the season?
Again, I've made an arse of myself quite a few times this season, but I thought Forrest was finished. But
so did I.
He's been phenomenal the last week, and he's nailed on his start. And by all credit to him getting picked for the Scotland squad, and also what the Scotland managers, just my mind went what his name is again. He actually said that, he knows what an example for the younger players. Just keep at it. And he has deserved that call up. If you're going to pick players on forum, James Forrest is nailed on.
Aye, 100%. I think what Roger said.
He looks as though he's got a wee bit quicker as well. I don't know if I'm seeing things. I'm honestly I'm not drinking at the games, so I don't know if I'm seeing things. But I feel as though
do you know why you think that, Ed? Do you know why you think that? It's because of how painfully slow Palma is. And we see Jamesy run with the ball. There's a massive, massive difference in the styles of play. That's my opinion anyway. But look, I think Jamesy Forrest has been incredible the last part of the season. And like you said, they get rewarded with a Scotland call-up. I love Brendan Rodgers' comment today. He has to cancel the holiday and get a refund that he booked. So again, there's a wee bit of humour. Like he's obviously loving the fact he's going to go to the Euros with the Scottish team over in Germany. You know, Willie, Ross, Franley, and all's going to be there from the podcast, so they'll have a cracking time watching Scotland play their games. But in the comments here, let me see. Michael McDonald, I'd play without a keeper in the first half tomorrow to give him the chance. The Pork Chop Express. I like Forrest, but refuse to get on the bandwagon with him. Been benched for nearly 3 years. Like to see him regular next season, though, if he can keep fit. Anthony comes in. Jamesy deserves all the plaudits he gets. Tremendous player and servant to the club. Paul McFarland, Stephen, you dream about Palma, wet dreams and everything. Well, I mean, I don't know if I do. That's probably subconsciously there, Paul. But what are you going to say, Dad?
Remember, James Forrest is the second most decorative player in Celtic's history. He will go joint second now. If we win tomorrow, he goes second, one behind Bobby Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
I have 25 major trophies or major medals.
That's incredible.
You know, and you can't give him nothing but credit and well done. What a servant he's been for the club.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because people still, that whole legend tag and stuff, but like you said there, Jed, he's could be the second most accurate player in our history, and that's incredible in itself. And he's a one club man, and Joe Hart even alluded to the fact that he loves looking at James Forrest, Stephen Welsh, Ralston, Cal McGregor, being at the club for years and years, and seeing what it actually means to the players of that ilk, and he buys into it more that way. Because you go to foreign clubs, there's players who have been there maybe 2 to 3 years, and they're like the senior pros. But in our dressing room at the moment, we're blessed to have people who've been around for 9, 10 years ever since they're from the youth academy up, and obviously the youth academy is a contentious issue at this moment in time. But one thing I do want to come on to, I think it's again incredible achievement, Jed, is break it up a wee bit here, because I want to go into a bit of tactical stuff, James. If you want to give me your lineup, I mean, Rodgers came in his press conference and said Celtic are in ideal condition. I think there's no injuries within the squad. I think Yang was the only doubt. But apart from that, it's a clean bill of health. Give me your lineup, and then once
up the bar.
Yeah, that's fine. Give me your lineup, and then once I get Jed's, we'll talk about some battles throughout the pitch with the dog shed across the road.
I think it picks itself. Hart, Johnson, Scales, Carter, Vickers, Taylor, O'Reilly, Hatate, McGregor, Maida, Kyogo, Palmer. It picks itself.
What?
Nah, I think it will be. It'll be Maida, Kyogo, Forrest. But I think it picks itself. It's obviously a great place to be in. If the only surprise that I could potentially see, but I think the chances are slim to none, is possibly Adamida getting the nod. Ahead of Kyogo, but I don't see that happening. But just after the back, his performance at Rugby Park. Yeah.
No, I get that, because as Jed said at the start, that was one of our best performances of the season. He was obviously a part of that. Pat McLaughlin, Bain Ralston, Carter Vickers, Larky, Pelka, Scales, Awada, McGregor, Hatate, Kuhn, Ida, and Palma. I mean, if we look at
Yang can't even get in the second team.
I don't know why Yang gets so much hate. He's actually a decent player, to be fair. But if we look at it for myself, I would go Joe Hart, AJ, Carter Vickers, Scales, Taylor, Cal McGregor, Rio Hatate, O'Reilly, Forrest, Maida, and Kyogo. Right? I know what you're saying about Ida, but I don't think he necessarily gets that shout in that game, because, as we discussed before, the game's different against them. It opens up. There's more kind of spaces to exploit. But Jed, what would be? I mean, you're back from filling up the bar. What would be your lineup for tomorrow?
Well, I can't get the bar staff for a start, so disappointed. I'll need to have a word.
Is there no one on call tonight? Is there no one on call to hand you the beer tonight?
I thought Teresa was down the stair, but she was actually in the room. next door. It's fine.
What's your lineup for tomorrow?
Lineup for tomorrow. Bearing goals. Hart and goal. Johnston, Carter Vickers, Ralston, Scales and Taylor. Midfield will pick itself. I think the team picks itself, as we've all said. Kyogo, Hatate, and I'm just losing the plot tonight. O'Reilly, Hatate, McGregor. On the wings, we'll have Maeda and wee Jamesy, and up front, Kyogo. But I do believe Ida is going to come on and score.
Oh, he did. Well, he did at Ibrox, so kind of watch this based on that one, James. But if we look at that, right, we've all said our lineups, and I think they've got some injury issues that Clementine keeps pushing, and we don't know obviously the state of our squad. We basically all said the same. Yeah. So kind of sets the precedent here for a wee bit of key battles on the pitch. And James, I mean, you could probably midfield to front, Diamande, Cantwell, Lundstrom. I think he's probably going to get the shout again, even though he's wearing a Celtic jersey under the Rangers one. And Sterling, Dessers, and Seema. So that would probably be their front six. Their defensive area, they've got Tavernier. I have a habit of calling him Tav now. It's mad. Tavernier. I know their two centre backs are injured. King, come on. Davis, Yilmaz looks injured. So the start of the wee lad Fraser in their last game. So I don't know if he'll get the shout. But if we're looking at where this kind of game could be won or lost, and try not kind of lean too heavy on the previous games, because this is a cup game, like you said, James. It's a one-off environment. I do believe it will be fucking just straight off from the start. Both teams going at each other. In what areas? First of all, does Celtic need to be worrying?
Well, I know I thought, and look at the guys I did, he dives about all the place, but I thought the last game, that Silva had the better of Johnston. The game at Parkhead, obviously, the kind of couple of chances in the first half, the header, if I'm being honest, they should score. And then he's the one that he kind of puts out for a shy. But I thought that Silva had the better Alistair Johnson in that game, so that makes me a wee bit wary. Like I said the same thing before with Dessers. He's an absolute diddy, and he'll miss chances, but he always seems to be there to get the chance, as obviously was bore out with the game at Parkhead. But I don't know if I'd say it was fear, but I just think it's something that we've got to be wary of. That's even if Silva plays, because like the teams I've seen people putting up on Twitter, just talking to my mates that have season books for Ibrox and all that stuff, a lot of them aren't they starting them, but I don't know if it's true. I don't even know if it's possible, or the stuff about his contract that he has to play. But that would be the two for me that I'd have a slight hesitation about. Yeah,
and I don't know about you, Jed, but I look at the blueprint that Aberdeen done against us and attacked the back post. Our left-hand side, Scales and Taylor, and they got 2 goals from 2 identical crosses from Hoylett. And the weeks after that, a lot of teams who we played tried that exact same thing. Some were successful, some were not. So that for me is a worry. I do agree with what James said. If you look at Silva, AJ to me had a shocker against him in the last game. I don't know what was going on with him, because usually he's quite solid in 1v1 situations. And Taylor up against Sterling, we've seen their goal kind of come from a lofted ball in again. Scales got caught underneath the ball. Taylor's pointing, and Sterling gets the first kind of initial contact, and then Dessers puts it in. So there is slight worries in terms of that. And look, I know we're all confident and stuff, but we can't be naive enough to think it's all going to be plain sailing. But on the pitch tomorrow, where does Celtic need to be kind of most cautious, let's say?
I think what Rangers are going to do, they'll probably do what they've done in the last game. They'll take it in turns to foul certain players to break up play, slow us down. That was certainly a tactic at Celtic Park. There are going to be spells in the game where they're going to have a wee bit of momentum. That's going to happen. It's happened in all the 4 previous games. Yes, Stephen, I'm glad you brought up about the Aberdeen game, because that is a weak weak link because Taylor's got no height as well, and that is a bit worrying. That Stellan's not a bad player. Is that Diamante? Is he able to play tomorrow?
Diamante's playing tomorrow. Yep.
He's quite a decent player. Like Campbell, I honestly don't know. I think the guy seems to do well against lesser teams, but he doesn't seem to turn up against Celtic. So let's hope that's still the case tomorrow. But look, that's what you've always got to fear for the set pieces.
Yeah.
Fantastic crosser of the ball. Free kicks. That's what you've got to watch for. But I'm more worried about them just fouling, breaking up play. They'll take it in turns. So the one person isn't going to get booked early doors with fouling Callum McGregor twice or Atati twice. They will take it in turns. So be prepared for a lot of play getting.
Oh, yeah. I can see that happening in terms of breaking up the play. It kind of happened in the last game as well, but obviously Lundstrom messed up that game plan, James, for them by getting sent off. And funny enough, I was speaking to a Rangers fan at work, and he's adamant that was a red card. And I'm like, I can't argue with it because it's that knowledge to think that's not a red card doesn't compute in my brain. He planted his leg in his Achilles and could have broke his leg with that kind of straight leg tackle. But if we look at
it, be tough for Kenny Miller if he's had to get back and take a normal job and he's working with you now.
Who said my job was normal? You cheeky dick. No, my job. But you look at it as well that and by the way, Jed, you're right. I look back, and do you remember when Cantwell first burst onto the scene in England and he was talked about as the next big thing? What a career nosedive that fella's had. Almost the same proportions as probably maybe Dele Alli, albeit Dele Alli has personal issues, but he was talked about in high regard for years and years when he first burst onto the scene at Norwich, and he's absolutely shite. He's more interested in putting Instagram reels up and pictures up of him doing this to the Hearts crowd, even though they had a moral victory and drew the game for the Eats again. That's their thing. But James, attacking areas for ourselves, let's have a look at it. I mean, Paddy Lavery, even to you, buddy, just seen your comment. And let's see where we're looking here. Forrest, don't think Barisic will play tomorrow. He's out of the club. As I said, Yilmaz apparently cried. I think their backup left back's a wee fella called Fraser. I don't know much about him. You look at that, Forrest could have again a field day over that right hand side. Maeda with Tavernier. Before I give mine, what's yours in terms of attacking sense and where we could win the game?
The Maeda Tavernier one's a tap-in, innit? But you just hope Kyogo is at it, Namora. As I say, obviously he does own the bench as well. I think that's a great option to have, but I know it's the easy one to say, but I think if Maeda keeps Tavernier defending, then that'll be massive for us because, well, he can't do it.
Yeah, and is that where you think the game will be won or lost? That's that left-hand side, is it?
I think the midfield will be massive. I know you're saying about Cantwell there. To be honest, I don't actually think Cantwell will play. I think they'll go Diamande, Lundstrom, and probably stick that Sterling in there as well. And it's three kind of big, kind of a bit more physicality, and just look to stop us playing essentially. So I think the game will be won and lost in the midfield. We've got the better technical football players. They've got kind of the hatchet men that can disrupt that. So I think it'll be won and lost there. And O'Reilly, Hatate and McGregor, it's not a bad three to have fighting your corner. So obviously you're going to back them. But I think that's where the game will be decided, in the middle of the park.
James, I think they play Lundstrom tomorrow. He is under mega pressure. I mean, the fans are still raging at him. So if he does start, is he going to really put in a tackle? Because they'll be worried that'll be in the back. He said what happened the last time. But again, that's just my opinion.
But I think as well, what James is saying is right. I mean, on the Rangers side of things, people are absolutely hating on him at the moment, Lundstrom. But it looks like from what Clementine said, he won't let outside influence dictate who he's going to pick in the team. Like, you have to fall on your own sword when you do these things. But I mean, for myself, Jed, before I come on to yourself, I look at the game as a whole here, and I think James is right. We always talk about it. It's the cliche statement, but the midfield battle we've won time and time again. O'Reilly, Hatate, and McGregor together. And what Chris Sutton said was right. Will be their 9th game they've played together this season. 9th or 10th game. Imagine having them fit throughout the entire league campaign. It would have been a totally different picture, a totally different scenario. We'd probably find ourselves in at this moment. But what we can be thankful for, Jed, is they've come back, they've found the rhythm again, and they're unbelievable as a trio together. And I think Maeda, like you said, gives Tavernier nightmares. And Kyogo, I mean, he gives Suter and Goldson nightmares. If it's Leon King and your man Ben Davis, you may as well bring the quilt out and go to sleep, because he's going to absolutely torch them tomorrow if things go the way we think it will. And like I said, Forrest against a young fella potentially just coming up through their academy could be another thing that we have to look out for in terms of success on the right hand side. But for yourself, key areas of the pitch, where do you think the game will be won or lost?
Definitely, you hit the nail on the head there with the midfield, but it's getting this. If we can get the service to Kyogo, like our second goal last week against St Mirren, absolutely fantastic. You know, the near post run. That's where Kyogo. See, when he doesn't have time to think about it, he just.
Yep.
It's when he thinks about it, he misses it. If they get the service to him, this is how. Even if Maeda could get 40% of the crosses in decent that he gets, that could be phenomenal. Because let's be honest, guys, if Maeda could cross the ball, he wouldn't be playing with us.
No, you're right. You're 100% right.
You know, so if we can do that, like I say, I just feel as though they're going to try and put us off a rhythm by committing silly fouls constantly. But you can see McGregor just seems to have, in the last few games, he's got a bit about his teeth now, trying to just see us over the line. And then I know we've all said that the midfield, normally in any game, if you control the midfield, you win the game.
Yep.
So, but I do believe there's going to be a big part to play for Ida as well, because he gives a different dimension to how we can play as well.
Yeah, totally. I think Roger spoke about that, having two strikers who can do two different things in his press conference there recently. And one thing I have noticed before we kind of wrap up, move on to the end of the podcast, is that Rangers, the last couple of times they've played us, have tried to miss the midfield with long balls, playing that press and getting not be involved in that midfield battle, which is quite interesting, because you know what Cal McGregor called Barris is a shite bag, and you know that's what they actually are, shite bags.
But Stephen, look at the last game when he says to was it Lawrence? Oh, so you're the new man. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant, because McGregor can say that because he can back it up. He can back it up. He's
exactly.
Think out a tackle like Scott Brown was the same. Where these guys, they're cowards. So they are.
See, speaking about Calmac, I just remembered that's someone I wanted to talk about. Do you think that, I mean, people were talking about his form, James, and I think what Jed said there is correct. Like, he's hyped up, he's talked down Lawrence, he's talked down Cantwell, he's schooled Barisic, and he hasn't really, let's be fair, right? Fits and starts this season, he's been decent. Then he got that injury, and there was all the rumours around his retirement, and all that WhatsApp stuff was started, and blah, blah, blah. But he's another one who's come on again. It's like that drove him to be like, fucking, what are you talking about? And the Hart tackle against Fargus, the standing ovation he got for making that kind of sprint back, 60, 70 yards. He's done the same against Sevco. How do you think his return to form has been vital for ourselves as well as the captain of the club, James, that come into the business part of the season?
Well, it's been massive. There was rumours. I'm sure there was rumours for a while that earlier in the season that he was carrying an injury, and then obviously he does his Achilles, and there was rumours that was his season finished. But thank God it wasn't. When he came back into the team, he didn't look his normal self. But he said in the interviews since that essentially missed a couple of weeks training because he was only doing strengthening on his Achilles, which is why he looked a wee bit rusty. But no, he's been absolutely massive for the run-in. See, to be fair, you could probably get through the team 1 to 11. I don't really think there's been anybody that's let us down in the last few weeks, which obviously couldn't have been timed any better. And you just hope we've got one last push in us to end the season with a double and get it out of the line the more. But no, he's been different class since he's get back to his kind of 100% fitness. But aye, amongst many others.
But James, you're right. Look at the two guys that came back as well, Carter Vickers and Hatate.
I think Hatate's still to hit his best form, to be honest.
Yes,
he's been good, but I still think he's to hit his peak.
But you can see it in bits of the game. He's phenomenal. When he's on his game, he's a different level to anybody. But 100%. Carter Vickers just brings that calmness. He reads the game
That's what we needed.
so well. And you can see Scales is more relaxed when he's got him next to him. I mean, and Carter Vickers is what, 25, 26? I mean, I know he looks a lot older. He's just, I just think he brings so much reassurance to the team when Carter Vickers is playing.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's one of the keys of this season, getting him back fit. And you're right, Jed, he's seen us through this kind of tough period. And you see what he brings to the team. As you said, he's so calm, composed. He defends one-on-one really well. No one can out-muscle him. He's great in the air. And it's all about finding the right partner for him next season. I know Scales has done a fantastic job. But again, it's about strengthening areas and making sure you're the best you can be in that area of the pitch. But before, as I said, we'll come on to the quiz and things of that nature to wrap up. I know the last time, Jed, we played them in the Scottish Cup final, or the previous version of the Dead Club, we got beat. Was it 3-2, wasn't it? Yeah. But I just wanted to, I just wanted to bring up just the lineups and have a wee look at it and talk about some players, Jed. I mean, Douglas, there we go again. Albi, I think Sutton played centre back that game. Baldy, Agat, Lennon, Lambert, McNamara come on the 44th minute for Lambert, Petrov, Thompson, Larson and Hartson. And then if you look at subs not used there, Gould, Boyd and Mrazovich, which I'm going to talk about in a wee second. And then the goals obviously from Hartson and Baldy there. And you look at the Rangers team, Klaus, Ross, Moore, Amoruso, Newman, Rickson, De Boer, Ferguson, Lovenkrands, McCann, is it Kaniga? Avaradze, and then McGregor's on the bits and the subs and Fidemar and Nerlinger and Flo. But does that bring back any memories for yourself? You look at them two squads going head to head. I seen Martin Lee's comments about the current team that Sevco have at the moment wouldn't even be ball boys for them teams. Yeah. Is for that team anyway, the Celtic one. I mean, some of them players in that were incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I have that game spring just gets it's in my memory for different reasons because it was a Saturday and I remember my youngest was getting christened the next day. And I remember I was having to go up and see the priest, and I was like that. I was standing up because I think this is going to go to extra time. I'm going to miss it, and then they got the goal in the 89th minute. So it was, but God, when you look back, I can't remember that. I completely forgot that Moravchik never got on the game, never got a game, never brought him on. When you see, when you see with the bench, even Steve Guppy was a decent player for us as well. But it was just one of the. That was when Rangers, they had a decent team at the time. Heartbreaking. Definitely heartbreaking. I just hope we return them the favour tomorrow. But I don't want. I mean, I would love if you can guarantee we win it at 89 or 90 minutes, but I'm wanting us to have it all wrapped up long before that so I can enjoy my beers.
So am I. I want it wrapped up for half time, otherwise I'll be shaking like a shitting dog, as James would say. But I mean, you look at it at that team, James, albeit ended the defeat, but I mean, Sutton playing centre back. I mean, McNamara, you've got Petrov, Lenny, Then he got a job recently there with Rapid Bucharest over in Romania. A good move for him. Some of them players are most of them actually are legendary. But if you have any fond memories back then of anyone in particular, obviously not that game. That's said because it ended in defeat. But the reason that I wanted to bring it up was just to kind of jog people's memories in regards to the players that we used to have at the club and the legends we still talk about to this day.
I would have been 9. I remember obviously losing it with the last kick of the ball, but I couldn't tell you where I was or anything like that. Obviously, I haven't seen it back since, but with a team, and obviously a lot of that team went on to take us to Seville the next year. But different classes, you say, you could probably get through a lot of them, and as you say, they're probably alongside James Forrest in that tier just below legend.
Maybe Palmer. But they'll get there. But it's much like the team tomorrow, Jed, as it says in the title of the podcast, basically time to finish the story. And one person's story who finished at that kind of time was Lubo Murazovic, who says he will immediately leave. He left the club after that final. And talk about, I mean, people talk about him a lot, but he's a quality player who, I mean, for myself, I can remember fits and starts of him. Like James, I think we're basically the same age. I was 8, 9. I mean, 7, 8, 9 when he was at the club. So you do take in the game, but you don't take it in as a whole and kind of appreciate what that player brings. Obviously, there's that famous where he chops the ball of his arse and the goals he scored against them in his first season and all that. But what was Lubo Murazovic like in the flesh? And I mean, Zinedine Zidane said he was one of the best players that he ever seen. And it's just unfortunate for us. We only found him when he was, 33?
33. I mean, I remember when Joseph Venglos brought him in, I think, who's this boy? And in his first derby game, he scored the 2 goals. And if you see footage of it, and he's commented on it afterwards, he just thought he scored the goal and he didn't know what to do. It just says the place just went mental. He didn't know what to do. But guys, I honestly can't tell you if he was right-footed or left-footed. That's how good a player he was.
Yeah.
The goals, I mean, he scored. I think it was. Hopefully, somebody can remember. Maybe Montel. I'm sure we beat Motherwell 7-1 or something on a Sunday night. It was when we used to have the 6 o'clock kickoffs, and I remember I was at the game, and he scored the goal with the free kick, and that he was phenomenal. Look at the game against Juventus, the 4-3 game. I mean, Juventus were a phenomenal team, and they had defenders didn't know what to do. He was spinning because he was so two-footed. Like I said, I don't know. Can any of you tell me, was he right-footed or left-footed? I don't know.
That's the thing about him. He was that good that no one knew what foot he was. And do you think as well, Jed, like, you look at it, we found him when he was 33, right? And I wouldn't say his career, I mean, he was a fully fledged international. He was playing with European clubs. I think we signed him from a German club. But, yeah, I mean, it's incredible the impact he made at that age. You wouldn't really hear that now. Probably the comparison I would think of at the moment would be Larson when he went to Manchester United at 35, 36. People looked up to him in the dressing room. But like you said, Lubo came in as a relative unknown. And you're going, like you said as well, who is this guy? But could he do it in the pitch? He fucking delivered and then some.
Yeah, I mean, again, just as we're talking about, things are starting to come back to me. The game that Henrik Larsson got his 50th goal at Ibrox, the goal that Lubo scored, the keeper, Clausen, he didn't know what to do. He just stood on me wrong. He just totally wrong-footed him, and he didn't know what to do. Before he knew it, the ball was in the net. He was absolute quality. For a guy that came for only a few seasons, he will always have a very, very special place in the hearts of Celtic fans. He was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal for us. And I'm fortunate enough that I got to see him in the flesh. That's how much I think he was such a good player. I'm fortunate I got to see him.
Yeah, I mean, the games I took in, and you remember in the clips you watch back to it, he was an absolute genius. And like you said, that even for 2 or 3 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons he was at the club, he made an impact on everybody. And I remember one of the first bits of the kind of Celtic history that I watched. What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at the comments.
Oh, I remember one of the
comments, James. So
one of the first bits is no. One of the first Celtic one of the first Celtic history kind of DVDs videos that I got was my granda had like a whole lot of them, and he had a Jimmy Johnson tape, Jed, and it was an old tape. He had it signed, and I was like 7, 8 at that, and he was like, "What's this?" And I remember watching it and just watching this wee fella just skinning people in like inside and out, go back and doing it again. The famous one against Real Madrid, where the actual Real Madrid crowd starts shouting "Ole, Ole, Ole," and you're like, "Wow, it's mind blowing, James." And you look at Lubo. I don't want to speak for you, but my memories of Lubo would be hazy. I do remember obviously bits of him and the goals that he scored and the skills and stuff you see online still, and the players kind of talking about him and bringing that back up, and he still features in legend matches. But what I'm basically trying to get to is, I mean, the history of the club and the players that we've had is incredible. When you look back at lineups, you look back at old tapes, it can't be underestimated.
My memory, I'm sure it was Easter Road. I'm about 99% sure it was Easter Road. We had do you remember the white NTL strip? That we had, that would have been about 2001 probably. And I was at the game with my dad at Easter Road, and he scored an absolute rocket. And I would have been 8-year-old, 9-year-old at that time, and I just remember I've never seen anybody hit a ball that hard, and you couldn't have threw it into the net any better. It was an absolute rocket. So that's my kind of overriding memory. Obviously, as you say, we would have been about a similar age. But as Jed says, you couldn't tell if he was left or right with it, and to be honest, it never really looked as if he broke sweat. He was absolutely fantastic, and just wish that we could have found him, as you say, a wee bit sooner.
Could you imagine the impact on that team he would have had if he got him at 27, 28? It would have been incredible. But one thing I want to leave you with, and for a wee second, I really need a pee, but I'll throw this in there, right? I'll throw 2 names in there. Lubom Radovic, Stilian Petrov. Whose spaces are they taking in our midfield trio at this moment in time? Back in 2 seconds. Jed, you start.
Any one of them.
Aye, yes, whoever's they want.
James, they can go in and say, like, right, you're off. Look, that Petrov was absolute quality as well. When he came, James, I think he was only 19. John Barnes signed, and he couldn't speak a word of English when he came. But he was a great player for us as well. And it was one of Martin O'Neill's first signings when he went to Aston Villa. Is that right?
Aye.
But look, great player. Yeah, they would have to walk in. They would need to walk in our team now, James. They would need to.
Aye, 100%. I mean, the stand. Funnily enough, I actually watched. There's a video on YouTube. It's a decent watch. I can't mind what channel it was on, but it's about John Barnes' time at Celtic. And when you watch it, I think that was pretty much the only positive that John Barnes gave to Celtic was Stan Petrov. And for a spell that season, he tried to play him at fullback. But when you watch that video, it goes through that season kind of chronologically, and it shows you the teams and the changes that he made. And some of them are absolutely mental. But trying to play Stan Petrov at fullback was probably right up there with the worst of them.
Yeah.
So what conclusion did we come to?
We basically said they can basically decide who's coming off of there. They walk into your team.
Fair enough.
So they can and say, right, you're off, we're on. That's how good.
I don't know if it's naive. I don't know if it's naive to me, but I would hope Matt O'Reilly did the same candle as a whole Petrov. I don't know, but like that's just my thinking on that one. Look, McGranda's for a wee cheeky comment here, Jed. You can elaborate if you want, but he wants to know what's your memories of Mo Johnson.
Right. Again, some of the older guys, please. The story that was going about, I admit, is when Mo Johnson signed for Rangers, I was in Mallorca can always remember that, and I was, just raging, absolutely raging. What he could do to us. His first game, Celtic Rangers game, was at Celtic Park. The rumour is that the police got word that Beard's Bar and the Gallagate were putting money all in for the first person who got on the pitch to get him. The police came and kept everybody in the bar. I don't know if that's true. That is the rumour that happened. But the atmosphere, it was so toxic that game. It was unbelievable. Mo Johnson, see if he'd went to Rangers without Monty, you're bang on, mate. But see if he'd went to Rangers without getting from, he was out with a big jumper on, signing for us, and then 2 days later he's getting paraded at Ibrox. If he never done that, the promise is right, he'd have been an arsehole, fine. But it's what he done. And his agent was Bill McMurdo. Guys, Google this boy. He was the biggest blue nose out. I'm sure he was from Bellshill originally. Absolute. Mo Johnson will never. I mean, Celtic fans will celebrate when that boy dies. That's how much he is hated for what he done.
Yep. No, I can imagine. I can imagine. No, he does put it in to be cheeky. He knows what the response would have been.
Also, a wee story for, and I've never told you this. The very first game I went to with my dad, 1975, I think it was. My dad would always get slag because my mate slagged me at this day because used to always get in early. They says, "Oh, Jeddy, you open up, you open the stadium up." And I went in, and my dad, we always went to the main stand, and my dad shook this man's hand. I always remember that, and I'm just a young boy looking up at this guy. Didn't know who he was. And the boy patted me in the head, shouted at somebody, and the boy came over with a football, gave it to me. It was Jock Stein.
Class.
So it was my very first event.
The very first game you went to, Jock Stein gave you a football?
Yeah.
That's incredible. That is
so, honestly. And then I
have you still got it?
No, I was out playing with it. But listen, it's only when you get older and you realise what that was. I mean, if I had that now, it'd be actually sitting here beside me.
Yeah.
So that's how far I go back. But that was the very first game I went to.
Can I ask is, James, I'll start with you first. I mean, creating football memories like that. And like I said, we say, Townsend, it's Friday night, we're having a couple of beers, having a laugh here. I mean, you look back at in the derby games of history, and I mean, you have these people you dislike and probably hate in match day when you play them. I mean, for me, Nacho Novo, Vladimir Weiss, Lovenkrantz, all them types of players. But if you could pick a couple of players in the time you supported Celtic, who did you actually hate coming up against in the derby games? Who really pissed you off and just, you fucking dick? Who gave you that emotion?
You've just named him there, Nacho Novo, and it wasn't even just for his off-field antics. For as much as he wasn't a world beater, and I don't really think he was a starter as such for them. He was a dangerous wee bastard. I always mind it was a 2-1 game. Venegura Hesselink scores with the last kick of the ball. It's Nacho Novo that basically scores a goal at nothing, just running down the wing, cutting inside and sliding it by Boric. Kyle Lafferty was another one. Again, all the off-field stuff didn't help, but I always felt he was quite dangerous. Then you've got your Chris Boyd, as much as he's a dafty, never really done anything against us. But that's the two for me. Would be Lafferty and Novo.
Yeah, Kyle Lafferty was an onion. I remember that whole saga about him signing for us, and oh my God, do you know what I mean? It's the guy is an absolute fool, and McGranda comes in and says Coisty. I would say, I know there's a lot of hanging with Coisty in terms of him playing against us, but yeah, I mean, you look at times going by. Obviously, yourself, you'll know more players than us in terms of how they made you feel. I mean, speaking for me, like Vladimir Weiss and Ryan Kent, I fucking couldn't stand them.
Yeah,
It still baffles me to this day. It still baffles me to this day how there was no retribution for Ryan Kent fully punching Scott Brown on
yeah.
the pitch, and it's
No,
like mind baffling. But you
we
look
all
at it
ran
as well.
because there's one rule applies to other teams, and there's one
Mm.
rule applies to Rangers.
And
But the player,
it's fully evident.
the player that put the fear of God up me was Mark Catley. I mean,
Striker,
Walter
woman.
Smith. I remember Gavin. I've asked him this question a good number of months ago about players, and when when Walter Smith signed him for the second time, and he played against us, he scored early doors. The guy, he just put the fear of God in me, so he did. But also, can I also say a player I admired for the
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Ray Wilkins. Ray Wilkins was absolute quality, and I thought he was a decent guy off the pitch. You know, he didn't. I never heard him saying a bad word against Celtic. You know, he obviously loved his time at Rangers, which is fine, but he was quality. So he was. That's me just sidetracking.
No, I get that. I get that. It was quite funny. When Lenny got the job at Rapid Bucharest, I think it was Hadji's dad came out and said Celtic are a great culture football club. You just imagine the rage that the Rangers fans are feeling after that comment. So I get what you mean in that sense of things. But there was a lot of players who done my head in. I mean, Lovenkrands used to hate coming up against him. Avaladze. I mean, you look at recent years, Ryan Kent. I mean, is there anyone on the team now that piss you off? Maybe John Lundstrom, but again, he's an undercover agent for Celtic. I shite well, but yeah, I mean, the game tomorrow, it's all set up to be a cracking game, and look, I'm going to end the podcast on a wee random fact, and then a wee quiz to break it up. Currently, it's 3-1 to James in the quiz aspect of things. But look, we've kind of rounded up the Celtic talk. We had a bit of a trip down memory lane and talked about tactical battles and things like that. A random fact that I found today on Google is in the Middle Ages, people thought farting in jars and sniffing them would help prevent death. And it's absolutely incredible what you can find on the interweb. I mean, Jed, have you ever thought about farting in a jar and prolonging? I don't know. It's
arrested, Stephen. Are you looking in the dark web?
I'm not looking on the dark web. Actually, was my diary, James? How'd you know? Nah, I found it on good. I actually typed in random fact, and the first one I seen was Scotland chose the unicorn to be their national animal.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because we're mental.
Well, that's fucking true. The unicorn. You joking me? Monty wants to go to midnight. I don't think we'll go to midnight tonight, but we'll have a crack at this quiz. There's 50 questions in the quiz, by the way. And Paul McFarlane, I do not sniff stamps. And it's going to be the exact same format as the previous quizzes. It's the first to 20. At the moment, James, it's 3-1 to yourself. In the event that you don't reach 20, I will get a plane over and kick the bag out of both of you because that's just incredible.
David, you will never get a plane over.
Exactly. That's why I said it. Mate, have you seen what? Did you not see what happened on that flight there? The turbulence thing. Mate, come on! You don't get that in the boat. Let's put it like that.
No, it just sinks.
I mean.
Tell the folk the Titanic.
Franny Carter comes in. Cantwell probably is the one to hate right now, but I think it shows how poor some of their players are. That we really don't hate many of their players. Yeah, 100%. Plunge me nugget, night. Thanks for joining us, Plunge. So we'll get stuck into this quiz. Comments off. Currently, it's 3-1 to James. If we could keep track of that in the comments, that would be fantastic because my mind will go blank at points. So the first question is the Sudoku. Is that how you pronounce it? The Sudoku is the name given to the league title in which European country?
No, it's not Sudoku then.
Oh, sorry. The Scudetto is the name of given the league title in which country. That's
Italy.
fucking bad, isn't it?
Italy.
Italy. That was dead. That's 3-2.
Sudoku.
3-2.
It was maybe your pronunciation. It's the North of Irish twang.
That might be my favourite thing Andy's ever said.
3-2. Right. Which club did Alan Shearer win the Premier League title with?
Blackburn.
Blackburn Rovers.
It was Blackburn Rovers. That was dead. That's 3 each. And Maestro, Pat McLaughlin. Monty, fuck knows what Stephen is on about. Listen, you all know by now I've got a really bad way with words. It's incredible. Right. So it's 3 each. So right, ready? Red Bull own a football club based in which Austrian city?
Salzburg.
4-3 to Jed.
Point to Ross.
Who was the first goalkeeper to score in an FA Cup tie?
Glass.
An English FA.
English. Yep. Give up?
Bruce Grobbelaar.
Nope, it was a fellow called Alan Cooling for Hampton in the qualifying rounds.
Well, that was in the
Next
Cup in the
question. Which two teams play in the Barcelona derby?
Barcelona and
Espanyol
Espanyol.
and Barcelona.
4-3 to James. There we go. Stephen
Is it
Kennedy's in.
4-3?
Evening. Oh, 4 each then. There we go. Franny Cardi Sudoku. You know what I meant? I thought it was that wee flippy thing. I didn't read the question right. Right. Which footballer has won the Premier League with both Leicester City and Manchester City?
Mahrez.
5-4 to James. Yep. Next question. Which former FIFA World Player of the Year became president of his home country in 2018?
Georgie Weah.
It is, in fact, Georgie Weah. So that's 6-4. Yeah. Next question. Which player had 13 years between his two Champions League wins in 1995 and 2008?
Paul Scholes. No.
No.
Nope.
Seedorf.
It's over to you. Oh, fuck.
Seedorf.
Well, I'll give you one more guess each, James. It's over to you.
Paolo Maldini.
Nope, Jed. Last guess in this one.
Baresi.
No, Edwin van der Sar.
Oh, fuck eh.
Next question, so it's still 6-4. Who was the first striker to score 100 Premier League goals for two different clubs?
Alan Shearer.
It was, in fact, Alan Shearer. 7-4. Great knowledge there, James. Next question. How many times has England won the UEFA Women's Championship?
Too many.
Once.
Twice.
James has got it right once. 8-4. Jed, come on, Chief. I'm trying to make them easy for you. In the comments, people are getting stuck in. Pat McLaughlin, Van der Sar, Monty, nope. Monty Cole, nope. Shearer, nope. Once is correct. Emerald abroad. Brilliant. English knowledge. I knew that was going to happen. Right. In which year was the first UEFA European Championship held?
1974.
Nope. Over to you, James.
I'll say 1970. Piggyback half Jed. I don't
No, it's not because they World Cup years. It'd be 72.
Oh, fuck.
It was actually 1960.
Ah, well, got that wrong.
8-4. Pat McLaughlin was in straight away there. 1960. Franny, listen, Franny, you're running about there with a tool belt on. Relax. It's all good. Right. Next one. The Brazilian legend Romero played 5 seasons for which Dutch club before moving to Barcelona?
Ajax.
Oh, nope.
PSV.
It was, in fact, PSV. So that's 9-4 to James. Jed.
Yes.
You cannot let this. Do not let him win. Please, he's won the last couple of times I've been on, and it annoys me. So it does.
I know, but he's Mr. Encyclopedia.
Monty
Why
got
does
it.
that annoy you?
Just
Porkchop
waiting
got
for
it.
when's the questions?
There is clearly you have Alexa on really quietly in the background, and when I trigger it, that's what happens. Do you know what I mean? Next question. Which company has sponsored the EFL trophy since 2020?
Papa John's.
Fuck me. Yep, that's 9-4. Wow.
I'm glad I didn't know
Next,
that.
next question. Next question. In what year was the Women's Football Association established in England?
1996.
No.
1970.
Remember, Jed is answering in Braille. It was in fact. It was in fact 1969. James, 1 year off. Good shout. Monty said 1916, but I think he's
How
not
did they
wrong.
manage that and keep the house and done the cooking at the same time?
Oh Jesus! That's 9-4. This is our last ever podcast. It was nice knowing you. Next question. What is Juventus's nickname?
The old lady.
Eating bastards.
15. Yeah, it is in fact the old lady. So that is 10-4 to James. This is embarrassing, Jed. Please put your act together. And in what football league does the Beckham rule apply?
The American. MSN.
Yes. 10-5. Brilliant. Next question. Who is the most capped England player with 125 appearances?
Peter
Gordon
Shelton.
Banks. Ah, fuck.
10-6. We're back in. We're back in. Next question, which is featured quite heavily over the last couple of weeks because we've run out of questions to ask. Who scored the first ever goal in the Premier League?
It was Teddy Sheringham.
It was not Teddy Sheringham.
I don't know. It's somebody I'd never heard before. I don't know.
Branding. So it's 10-6. Right, you ready for the next one? Next question. Shelton, yep. Porkchop, Shelton, Pat McLaughlin, Franny Carty. You've answered that question about 9 times. You know it off by heart now. Which EFL team plays their home games at the Wham Stadium?
Oh. Oxford.
Oh, no. You're in around the right kind of train of thought. It's a League 1, League 2 club, James.
Stevenage.
No, it was Accrington and Stanley. So it was.
How?
Who are they? Exactly. What country did Eusebio play international football for?
Portugal.
10-7. So it is. Which football club has a stand named after Elton John?
Watford.
11-7. Look at this.
Not at all.
Monty, Graham Lasso, Patrick McLaughlin, Mickey Quinn, no idea. Paul McFarlane, does the quizmaster not have to be unbiased? Come on, come on. George Michael, Watford, yes, Maestro, got it correct. Next question. Fuck that, no, that's some more shite about that. Which English club was the first to win the European Cup twice?
Man United.
Nope.
Liverpool. Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest.
Oh, Jed, stick with your first answer. Oh my God. Right, we'll move on. 11-7. Right. It's Liverpool, by the way. Which two countries hosted the 2002 FIFA World Cup?
South Korea and Japan.
Yep, that's right.
It's mental how much you know. Yeah,
That's my
12-7.
favourite. That's my favourite World Cup ever.
Right, fuck me.
Transgender?
No. Transport are a football club based in which country?
Turkey.
Yeah, that's 12-7. Yep. Reece James spent the 2019-20 season on loan to which club?
Bolton.
No. Jed, I'll give you a clue. Sean Maloney manages him right now.
Wigan.
Yeah! 12-8. 12-8. At which club did Frank Lampard start his professional career?
West
West
Ham.
Ham.
Was it West Ham? Let me check. It was in fact West Ham. That's 13-8 to James.
No,
Who
I
is the
got that.
Bundesliga?
He's
Aye,
making
but
up
you got
as
it
he goes,
after
Jim.
James.
Just
You
wait,
got it
wait a
after
minute.
James.
It'll be 19 each in a minute.
Who is
Oh, God,
who is the Bundesliga's all-time top goal scorer?
close.
Nope. I'm actually surprised. Who? Klaus?
Closer.
Closer.
No. Good shout, Maestro. Yeah, Patrick. Yeah. Franny, you're wrong. Jed, I'm surprised at you here. I'm surprised at you here, by the way. You jumped in on that really quickly.
Gert Muller.
It was a fact. Gert Muller. 13-8.
Hold on.
Yep. 13-8. Which England goalkeeper saved a penalty against Scotland at UEFA Euro 1996?
It's David Seaman.
30. It was David Seaman, so we're on 13-9. Right. Just give me a wee second to get set here. Right. Who was the first player to be sent off in an FA Cup final?
Oh, it was a Liverpool Wimbledon game. Oh God.
The game was in 1985.
Yeah. Oh.
There's a lot of semen in the comments. Keep it clean, boys.
Oh, because he didn't. The team actually won, and he didn't get his medal because he was sent off. Everton won it. No, that was 95. Everton won it.
The game was 1985.
85.
Maestro has it correct.
Oh.
Patrick McLaughlin has it correct. James is perplexed. The first time I've seen him this perplexed in a long time on this. Remember, it's 13-8. You get this, it's 13-9. It's back on, Jed. It's back on.
Right, I'm saying it was a Liverpool game. The Liverpool game was the first penalty miss against Wimbledon. I think it was at the Coventry City Spurs game. 85.
You're going to have to give me a name. You're going to have to give me a name.
Keith Houchin.
No, Kevin Moran.
It's Everton then.
So it was. And a lot of people got that right in the comments. Right. As of 2022, so we're going back a couple of years, how many Ballon d'Or awards has Lionel Messi won?
7.
Oh, bingo! That is fantastic. 13-9 we are on. So next question is, what stadium is home to Bayern Munich?
Allianz Arena.
Arena. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 14-9. Good shout there. Dele Alli moved to Tottenham from which EFL club?
MK Dons.
Dons, yep.
So that's 15-9. Much like our own Matt O'Reilly has made that jump to ourselves from MK Dons. So, which manager gave Gareth Southgate his England debut?
Steve McLaren.
Nope. Over to you, James.
Terry Venables.
16-9. Great shout.
Alright, fuck.
Right. So this is a 3-point question. Okay. So if you get the free answers, you get 3 points. So name the 3 players who shared the Premier League Golden Boot in 2019. I love it when you don't know what to say.
Aguero.
Suarez.
Both of you are wrong. I'll give you one more try. Nah, you fucked it. The 3 players were Aubameyang, Sadio Mane, and Mohamed Salah.
Could have sat here to the more than no say day 3.
Right. So we're still 15-9. Which nation has won the African Cup of Nations the most?
Egypt.
Morocco.
Yeah, 16-9. Egypt is correct. Right. Which Argentinian club did Lionel Messi play for as a youth?
River Plate.
Newell's Old Boys.
17-9, Jed. This is
That's
right.
all right. I've got
Stephen
I can't
Carey
live with it.
for
I
some
can't
reason.
live with this. I can't live with it. James wins every quiz. Which football club in 1993 became the first to win the FA Cup and League Cup in the same season?
Oh no, it wasn't.
Man United.
No. Over to you, Jed.
1993. Liverpool.
It was Arsenal. Next question. So still 16-9. You've got 4 more to go, James, to finish it off. Which Frenchman was the first foreign player to win the PFA Player of the Year award?
Ginola.
Nope.
Thierry Henry.
Nope. I'll give you one more go each, Jed. Back over to you.
Petit. Ramel Petit.
Nope. Nope. James.
I can't even think. Nicholas Anelka.
Patrick McLaughlin has it bang on. It was Cantona.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Right. What is the Dutch Super Cup also known as?
Sudoku. A crossword.
No.
Guys, I'll need to go to the toilet.
Oh, dude.
Sitting down a shite on Google.
Right, what do you think it is?
What is it? The Dutch Super Cup? It's no the league. It's the cup.
It's a cup.
I don't know.
It was, in fact, the Johan Cruyff Shield. It's named that in FIFA. I'm pretty sure it is anyway. Right, we'll pause the quiz. Still 16. It's 16-9, isn't it still?
I couldn't tell you, mate. You've been making up as you went. I think I'm at about 35 already.
Hey, listen, this is what happens on a Friday night with the Endless Celts. You know this. He's pickled the pickle. We're on the home straight. We have exactly 4 questions left. This is for James to put it back. If James doesn't get it in these 4 questions, I'm afraid to tell you that we're going to be getting it till 20. So the next question is, what is the Newcastle United's mascot called?
The Magpie.
Michael the Magpie.
Jed, you're correct. So 16-10, and I have to be fully transparent. It was actually Monty the Magpie, but the fact you said Magpie, you get the point. There you go. Next question. Which nation won UEFA Euro 1992 despite not qualifying?
Denmark.
Yes, that was
17-10. Next question. Fuck. Which player holds the record for the most Premier League appearances with 653 games?
Ryan
Paul
Giggs.
Scholes.
Nope, both wrong.
Oh, it's
One
James
goal each.
Milner.
No, it's not. Back to you, Jed.
No, don't know.
Gareth Barry.
I'm getting my Barrys and my Milners mixed up.
Still 17-10. Last question of this quiz. Hearts and Hibs both play their home games in which Scottish city?
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
There we go. What's that finished on? 17-11. I think we answered
Oh,
enough
it's a draw
questions
then.
for a lifetime.
That was a draw.
But yeah, you could technically say it was a draw. I'll give you that, Jed. James didn't pull away in the end. I think he would have pulled it back if I had more questions. But in the comments, Gav's in. Got it right. Patrick, no. Franny, yes. James, yes. The Shagger Gigs, definitely not. Dundee, Maestro to finish it off. But look, lads, that kind of brings us to at the end of the podcast as we looked ahead and had a bit of crack towards the Scottish Cup final tomorrow. Jed, have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I have actually. I've not been on for a wee while. I did enjoy it. I don't usually have a few beers, but I'm not driving in the morning, so I thought I'll take advantage.
Exactly, mate. And James, what about yourself, buddy? You won the quiz again. You must be jubilant.
Oh, no.
You must be ready for action.
Absolutely delighted, but I'll give Jed the moral victory on that one.
I won't take it, James. I promise I won't take it. Hold on, I'll do a laugh corner.
It's been a good laugh. It's my first Friday in a couple of weeks as well, so good to get back on and get a good laugh and a couple of beers.
Yeah, 100%. And I do want to say as well, any new commenters in, please hit the wee subscribe button. Obviously helps us along our way in our journey as well. But look, we'll be back again Monday, hopefully discussing a League and Cup double. But until then, I hope everyone enjoys their weekend. I hope everyone enjoys their drinks and hopefully their celebrations. And we'll touch base with you again on Monday and we'll have a chat about the weekend's events. Until then, stay well, keep safe. Hail, hail.